Welcome to episode 46 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author as they tell us one of their favorite quotes, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. And as always, please remember the prequel, Power of the Air's Passion, and book one, Blast of the Dragon's Fury. The ebooks are both free for download on Amazon, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you remember, a couple episodes ago where I unveiled book 5 in the series, so make sure that you get those downloaded and read them, because we got book 5 just out the door. So you'll not want to miss that, what's in that. So today we have a treat, but we welcome YA author J.C. Phelps as our guest. So J.C. is a wife and mother of 3 who writes from the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. Her Alexis Stanton Chronicles, which we're going to find out about today, have blossomed into 6 books, with the 6th releasing in just 5 days. Can you believe it? Just 5 days. January 30th, it releases. She says the series has been the most enjoyable work she's ever written. So please join me in welcoming J.C. Phelps.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's great to see you. So JC, you're going to be reading from your YA novel Color Me Gray, which is book 1 in the Alexis Stanton Chronicles. So that we can get a feel for the book, would you give us a synopsis?
I'm going to read from the back. Help wanted. Exciting, highly paid position for person with specialized training. Recently unemployed, after quitting a boring office job, Alexis Stanton finds a mysterious ad in the Help Wanted section that might prove the answer to her desire for excitement and adventure. After an intense application process, including actually fighting with her competition, she gets the job of her dreams. But is it going to kill her?
Ooh, that sounds like it could be a very interesting adventure. The job that kills you. How many of us believe we work at those kind of jobs anyway? But I suspect it's a little bit different than the jobs we tend to hold down.
A little bit. It's really an exciting adventure, something that I fantasize about but would never actually do.
You're also giving away a book. What will you be giving away?
Well, I'm going to give away 3 copies of the Omnibus edition of the Alexis Stanton Chronicles, and that's 3 books in 1. It will be the first 3 books. It'll be the first one, Color Me Gray, the second, Shades of Gray, and then the third book as well, Reflections of Gray. So those they all come in one as an ebook.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're giving away the first 3 books of the series in ebook form. That's awesome. Cool. And you know what? Again, this week I am going to throw in the autographed bookmark for my 5th book in the series, Vision of the Griffin's Heart. So all sorts of goodies to look forward to. So make sure that you leave a comment below in the comment section. And also with that, please leave a Twitter handle or some way to get a hold of you on Facebook, something like that, because as I've mentioned before, it's not easy to get a hold of people if all we have is your YouTube address. So, all right, very good. This will be good.
Have you ever heard the expression awesome possum? Are you looking for great reads for your kids or grandkids? Award-winning author M.K. Mathias has recently published the first 3 books in the Awesome Possum series for early readers. And the expression awesome possum is apropos because these books have an engaging rhyming tale with full-color illustrations that are sure to keep kids riveted and begging for more. Awesome Possum by M.K. Mathias. Get one or all of them at Amazon today.
You're going to be reading from your novel, Color Me Gray, which is book 1 in the Alexis Stanton Chronicles. Would you briefly set up the portion you'll be reading from and then share with us?
This is the part of the book where she's gotten the job and she is being shipped off for training with Mr. Black. And he has had her in a forced march all day, and she's actually really kind of feeling sorry for herself. And they have taken a short break for lunch, And now they're back up and moving again. Once we started moving again, it was a new kind of pain. I ached everywhere, but it was a dull ache. I no longer checked out the scenery or occasional wildlife sighting. I watched the back of Mr. Black's hiking boots go up and down. I concentrated on his footfalls and matched them step for step. I counted them, lost my place, and started over again. Mr. Black stopped, and I stopped. I noticed that it was almost dark. Maybe we were going to stop for the night. Don't get your hopes up. It's probably just dinner break, I told myself. He took his backpack off and started to remove the bedroll that was fastened to the bottom. I stood there and watched him, not fully comprehending what was going on. He rolled it out on the ground and then came up to me and took the pack off my back and did the same with my bedroll. "Help me find some firewood," he said when he was done. He got back up and went one direction, and I went the other. I came back with an armload of dead twigs, and he had already gotten the fire started. "Is this enough?" I asked, my voice hoarse. "Yeah, get some rest. We'll eat in the morning." With that, I laid down and promptly fell asleep. "Breakfast," Mr. Black nudged me with his boot. I sat straight up and looked around. Where was I? Oh, shoot, now I remember. I thought maybe I was in hell. No such luck. "What time is it?" I asked him. "Time for breakfast," he said. Smart ass, I thought. I wasn't in the best of moods this morning, or evening, or whenever it was. It was as dark as it could get. The only light available came from the fire and the eerie eyes in the distance. "What's out there?" I asked. "Don't know for sure. Maybe wolves. Most likely deer," he said. Great. Wolves. I ate the jerky he handed to me and sipped on my water. All the while, I kept my attention on the eyes around us. We sat in silence and waited for the sun to come around to our side of the world again. Slowly, a mist formed on the ground, and the brightest stars started to fade. Eventually, the sky turned from a black to a bluish gray. Then the first hints of pink and orange began to show on the clouds. Mr. Black put the fire out sometime between black and gray, so we could fully appreciate the sunrise. "On your feet," he said before the sun was visible. I felt cheated. I stood and all the aches of the previous day came back. I had a little trouble lifting the pack, but managed to get it up alone. I had to use one arm because my bruised shoulder hurt too much. I couldn't make that arm move without breaking into a sweat. I had to do some special maneuvering. I leaned down and put my injured arm under the strap and then turned around and hiked the whole thing up on my other arm. Then I adjusted the strap for the bad arm. Mr. Black was already marching away through a particularly thick stand of trees. Once inside the stand, I couldn't see more than a few feet in front or to either side of me. I managed to catch up to Mr. Black with no problem. His pace was a lot less brisk in the morning, more of a casual stroll. I strolled along behind him, and before long we came to the edge of the thickly placed trees. Not more than 100 feet away stood a small cabin. Was this our destination? I hope so. I loved the outdoors, but I was too tired to enjoy it. A nice bed, or a lumpy bed for that matter, would be wonderful. We strolled up to the door and Mr. Black went in. I stood on the porch and thought about it. We had been hiking less than 15 minutes. We could have been here last night. I wouldn't have had to sleep out on the ground, and I could have gotten an extra 15 minutes of sleep. My anger was building as I thought about how close we had been to the cabin all along. "Why didn't we just hike to the cabin last night?" I asked with a hint of frustration in my voice. "I like to camp," he said. "You like to camp?" I replied with my eyebrows raised. "We made good time yesterday, but the program calls for a night in the woods," he said. I decided it would be best not to pursue this line of questioning much longer. Mr. Black was, after all, at least 3 times my size. I didn't want to provoke him because I didn't know exactly what he might do. He had me guessing. One minute he could be a major hard ass, the next he was helping me out. That's it.
Okay. So this is a very interesting recruitment process, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Maybe it's more military style? Would that be
Yes,
fair
it's
to
very
say?
much military style. And it doesn't actually, and this is a spoiler I don't mind giving out. It doesn't actually say until the second book, but she's actually joined a private military corporation and doesn't even know it.
Our guest author last week, YA fantasy author Kirsten Lindsay Hager, posed a trivia question.
Well, my trivia question was, what was the type of car that Ron, Fred, and George used to save Harry in the Harry Potter books? It was the car that Mr. Weasley made how to fly. And the answer is, it was a light blue Ford.
So JC, you have a trivia question for our listeners. What is it?
My trivia question is, what flower in the Hunger Games reminds Katniss that she is not doomed?
Ooh, that's an awesome question. Okay. I wonder how many of you out there know the answer too, because I have to say I'm a little stumped. So, all right. So make sure that you tune in next episode, because that's when JC will reveal the answer to this trivia conundrum. And to make sure you don't miss it, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. JC, are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I would like to thank all of the readers that have ever given my books a chance. I really appreciate it. And for anybody out there who is considering writing a book or has written a book, any of you out there, just do it. Just do it, put it out there. You never know what's going to come of it. I've had so much fun doing this, and it has turned into something so much bigger than I ever thought it would. So I want to thank all the readers and encourage all the writers to get out there and get your stuff out there.
That's great. That's awesome advice too. Good job. So I hope you all have enjoyed getting to know JC Phelps just a little bit. I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series, and like I mentioned at the beginning, make sure that you download your free copies of the ebooks of both the prequel, Power of the Air's Passion, and Book 1, Blast of the Dragon's Fury, on Amazon, Google Play, or Barnes & Noble.
Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.